Hello, Bravo bosses, and welcome to I Take Bravo Very Seriously with me, your host, Dana. Today is actually a two-part episode. The first part of this episode will be on the Bonded by Bravo podcast, and then you can listen to the second part right here. So today I am joined by Amy and Jenna from Bonded by Bravo, and we are doing our pop culture pulse check on Tuesday today. We are talking the LA fires and their impact on pop culture. Then we are talking news in the Real Housewives of Potomac, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and Vanderpump Rules. Let's get into it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm happy to be back. And this is actually a second part of a two-part episode. Today, I am joined by Amy and Jenna from Bonded by Bravo. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we're excited to be here.
So we just did, a whole spiel on your episode because we had so much to talk about when it came to Southern charm, Southern hospitality, Real Houses of Salt Lake City. But here we're talking a little bit more pop culture because it is
Ooh.
Tuesday. It is our pop culture stories. I'm a day late, but that's okay because stuff just kept happening. Stuff is always just
Yes.
happening, right, guys? So I never thought that the LA fires would intersect with pop culture, but they have in some fun way.
Uh,
So I don't
Isn't
know
that
if you
why?
guys
Yeah.
heard, but like Spidey lost their house. And if everyone doesn't know who Spidey is, that is Spencer Pratt, Heidi Montag from The Hills, Laguna Beach, what have you. So they lose their house and everyone's like, they're rich or whatever. But apparently it is not that simple from what we're hearing. So apparently in this area, everyone is losing their fire insurance within the last couple of months.
so all
And
of California is
yeah.
pulling, yes, fire insurance, which is interesting because you have to have fire insurance. So now the only way to get it is through this other thing, but it's like insanely priced.
So
It
I
people
makes
just
saw that.
owning a
yeah.
home in California nearly impossible.
Right. So that's what we're finding out. And then Spencer's like, we are cash poor, we're asset rich, we don't have a home.
Ooh.
So he has started this, revolution, let's call it, of getting Heidi Montag's song from like 10 years ago to number one on iTunes. He had Emrata reposting it, Howie Mandel, Flava Flav,
Mm.
like everyone under the sun. And guys,
Jenny
he did it.
McCarthy.
Today, he literally did it. He got Heidi to number one. And like, I did not have on my bingo card that Spencer Proud would be like husband of the year.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
Tell me, I just literally got the chills. Like seeing when I thought about that video, he's like truly crying and it gets to number one. He comments like, we spent all of our money 15 years ago from the hills on this record that flopped and have had conversations about it since, like about the regret about spending that money. So to see it be number one today over Bad Bunny, very cool.
Very cool.
That's why over Bad Bunny. Like,
Hmm.
who would have thought?
Which was one of his
He's
goals, right? He just keeps setting these goals and he keeps surpassing them.
it's
It's great.
crazy. He said he put out a TikTok, who would have thought that I had to have my house burned down to get me to 1 million followers? He's almost at 2 million followers. And that's
Yeah.
all within the span of that extra million, like this
Mm-hmm.
past week. Yeah.
He's just starting this revolution. But then,
Yeah.
like, Mandy Moore and some other people were putting out GoFundMe's and stuff. So, Mandy Moore,
Hmm.
I think her brother in law and his wife lost their home, if I'm not mistaken, or
Yeah.
her brother.
Yeah.
So, she was just like reposting a GoFundMe, and people started like really coming at her. And so, she's responding with like, and people questioning whether we're helping out our own family or attributing some arbitrary amount of money Google says that someone has is not helpful or empathetic. She also said, our buddy Matt started this GoFundMe and I'm sharing because people have asked how they can help. We just lost most of our life in a fire too. And then she concluded it with kindly F off. No one is forcing you to do anything, which is totally right. Like, we just have
Mhm.
this assumption of Hollywood that all of these people are rich and no big deal. They lose
Hmm.
their house, they'll buy another one, right? But I think those of us in the know, especially in the Bravo know, we know that reality stars, for example, do not make very much money. Then we
Mhm.
have Mandy Moore explaining just because you Google me and you see how much money I say in Google it says I make doesn't mean anything.
Mhm.
And you don't
And
know what people's situations really are. So why are you
and
coming
I
at me?
think I think even besides the fact of like knowing if people have money or not, anyone who was affected by that fire lost
Mhm.
every single possession they owned. I mean, if we think about it, they lost something so like we're sitting here with a computer, AirPods, a phone, a mic, like a water bottle, a pair of earrings, like I have a hair tie in my hand, like every
Their
single
passports.
thing they know, their
They don't have,
passports, like every
Yeah.
picture. How can you come
memories,
at, like, where's your empathy? I think
Mhm.
like where's the empathy in all of this? The fact that people are even saying, oh, because you have all this money you can just rebuild. You can't rebuild memories, and you can't
Yeah.
rebuild photos. And if I think of what's in my tiny little New York City apartment, there's a lot of things that hold value that are not monetary.
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's you even had Spencer reaching out on behalf of Mandy Moore and saying
Yeah.
that she booked his hotel for him because she's such a nice friend. She booked my hotel in New York. I've never been to New York. I'll ride for Mandy Moore. Mandy Moore doesn't do anything
Yeah.
wrong. She's the nicest freaking lady ever. She's been the nicest since 2004. If you're nice in 2004, you're still nice in 2025. Okay. Like whatever he says right now, whatever.
Spencer's the
Makes
It's
no
so
breakout star
sense.
of these fires.
it's true. And like,
He's the breakout star.
who
Also,
would have
why do we
thought?
not have them on our TV? I am just so
Yeah.
baffled that no one has picked them up.
But how much do you want to bet they will now? Like they have
I
never
hope
been more
so
popular than right now.
because they're
Well,
great.
but imagine, like, there's the perfect series:
Hmm.
rebuilding
Yeah.
Heidi and Spencer,
Rebuilding
Rebuilding
Sydney.
rebuilding.
Malibu.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Patent
that was
pending.
good.
Yeah,
Patent
thank you.
pending. Yeah,
Thank
Jen,
you.
patent that one. That's a good one.
Well, I hate to get mad
Because
at anyone in
yeah,
this situation, obviously, because like it's such a terrible situation to be in, and we shouldn't be coming at anyone except Ramona, of course, because Ramona has to do what Ramona always does, and she just was so tone deaf, and she's like, "Good morning, Instagram. Good morning, everyone. What a beautiful day to be alive and well." And it just reminded me of her in COVID, right, where she was doing that,
Mhm.
and she's welcoming everyone to the day where she's on vacation. And why is she like this?
The
it's like
irony of
her.
that whole Ramona thing, though, is that she's literally in like the eye of the storm for any hurricane that comes. Like she's not even doing this from like a safe space. Like she's doing it from a place that is very vulnerable. And we've seen this happen in Florida already. So it's not like Florida is just, clear of all natural disasters.
Hmm.
But it's also like her entitlement is showing. Like,
Right.
just keep it in your pants. Keep it in your
Your
pants, Ramona.
pants.
Read the room.
I don't
Read
think
the
Yeah.
she
room.
ever will. And I think that,
No.
whenever she was eventually fully let go from Bravo, we were like, okay, was that her last straw? But I think the fact that these things keep happening just shows that she's just not meant to be on TV. She's just is never going to get it enough to
Ugh.
be able to,
Yeah.
say the right
Tone
thing.
deaf.
Tone
Tone
deaf.
deaf. So
Always.
tone
It's
deaf.
so tone deaf. All right, well, let's move on to the Real Housewives of Potomac. They just had their reunion filming, and guess who did not show up? It was Miss Karen Huger. And that is because apparently she has gone to rehab. So she released a statement to her rep, or sorry, via her rep, which says Karen made the important decision to enter a private recovery program. So was unable to attend the reunion taping today. She was fully supported in this choice. We stand behind Karen as she embarks on this meaningful journey and are proud of her for taking such a significant step toward her personal growth. So are you guys watching
So,
Potomac this year? Like,
okay,
what's your thoughts?
so me and Jenna are not Potomac watchers, but
Okay.
we've heard that it's very underrated and it's one we need to get on. However, with that being said, we don't live under a rock. I mean,
I know you
I've
don't. Yeah.
seen what's been happening with her DUI. I've seen the video, and the video was so
Wait, which
uncomfortable.
video? There's like
The one,
there's
the
so many videos.
the arrest video
The
Then
way she's
there's the
talking to
one
the
from the
cop, right?
yeah, where the one where
Yeah.
she's talking to the cop,
right,
and that was wild.
right.
So she has a history of this, is from what I'm understanding.
Right. So she had a DUI before. I don't remember the outcome of it. And then she had 8 citations for this one, which means it wasn't just,
8.
her hitting this tree or whatever it was. She was also driving like on an expired license, for example. There was a whole bunch of things. And then she ends up being convicted on a bunch of them. I don't know if she's been sentenced yet, but this to me seems like I mean,
Yeah.
it seems like the move that
Image.
obviously not even just
Yeah.
image, but like your lawyer would tell you to do this as well. Like,
Right. Like it's
this,
not coming from her. Because if it was
yeah.
Yeah.
coming from her, it seems like it probably already should have been done.
Well, like for context, like if you guys are Beverly Hills watchers,
Yeah.
are you?
Mhm.
So
Yes.
basically, what's been happening this season is Karen just avoiding the situation entirely. And so it's felt very Erica
Mm,
Jane being like,
that's
I
it.
can't
Yeah.
talk
Mm.
about the legal matters. It's a legal issue. So because of that, we don't get anything about it. So we thought, okay, at the reunion, like, let's get some accountability from Karen.
Hmm.
And then we're not going to get that because she's not going to be at the reunion.
Mm.
And anyone who tried to speak about it during the show, she's like, if either you're with me or you're against me. So she's not willing to give anyone any information, not willing to apologize, expecting everyone to be with her, and then doesn't have to take any accountability at the reunion. That's what you missed on
If,
TV.
but if I watch this, that would piss me off
Hmm.
big time.
Do you
And it
think
just
Andy
seems
will still, oh, go ahead.
no, you go.
Do you think Andy will still bring it up in some capacity, or do you think it's just going to be totally just
Mm,
nothing?
I guess he could just because it is the main storyline. That's the thing. First of all, this woman
Yeah,
just doesn't have a lot going on, which is also
that's what
sort
I've
of what
heard.
happens when you take someone out that's so
Yeah,
pivotal to the season. It's like the season of Beverly Hills that was about Lisa Vanderpump, and then she doesn't come to the
mm.
reunion. It's like, but this is what we need to talk about. This is why
yeah,
we're having this reunion. So I could see him maybe just going around and asking each of the women what they think about it and how they
yeah.
plan to move forward with Karen. I'm curious how the show plans to move forward with Karen. I mean, this is her taking accountability, but it's probably like
Well,
required.
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
was gonna say, and
Forced
isn't
accountability.
she? And is she gonna go to jail? With eight
I
counts. Is
don't
jail
I
it
don't
like?
know, but
Can she? Yeah,
I think it's a possibility. I haven't looked into like all of that too much, but I think it's a
yeah.
possibility, right? So,
Mm.
Huh.
well, I mean, that doesn't stop our Bravo loves from continuing on, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
It's true. I mean, Jen
Don't
Shaw's
stop.
about to have a great career in a few years.
Wait, I do have to ask, like, do you think Bravo would really have her back, Jen
I
Shah?
don't.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
You
I
do?
don't.
Absolutely.
I
They're
don't.
gonna be there with a camera waiting. What's the difference between what she did and what Teresa did when they had a camera at prison waiting for her to be done?
Because Teresa didn't mean it. Yeah.
Well,
And it wasn't to like frauding old, like elderly people.
I
I
don't
just, I
think
guess we'll
that.
find out in a couple years.
Yeah, I think Jen
Oh.
Shaw's already like she's communicating via jail,
She
for
can't
lack of
wait
a
to have,
better.
oh my God, you know that she is just ready and waiting and just excited to get back out there. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I just don't know how the public would feel. And like, not that Bravo has ever pleased the public. We're always upset with their decisions, right?
We
We're
It's
always,
sure
true.
are. We sure
We
are. It
that's
feels
one
like they
thing
don't
that's for
listen to us
true.
about anything.
no, fair enough. All right.
I'm
Well,
looking to see how many followers Jen Shaw has currently
on
on
Instagram,
Instagram. I have to know.
tell us.
She has 234,000 followers on Instagram.
And how often
Not
does
that
she keep
many.
her account updated?
Okay, the last post was December 16th.
Recent.
Oh, yeah, that's actually interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't.
she's not letting people forget about her. Good for her.
Mother, wife, entrepreneur. Oh, that's a school. It said Polly Proud. And I was like, what's that?
Mm.
But I think it's a school.
No, I think it's Polynesian, maybe.
Oh, yes, because she is.
Oh,
Oh
because I'm
my.
like, there's a flag. Oh my God, duh. Oh my God, thank you. I also
I
was
guess
like, they live in, okay. I wasn't
moving
sure if
on.
it was, yeah, please, let's move on.
Okay, so in Beverly Hills news, remember Denise and Aaron? Remember Aaron, weird Aaron?
So weird.
So I don't know if you guys remember
So
this a few years
weird.
back when he tried to explain to us what his job was. And
Hmm.
we couldn't, I actually rewatched this recently because I'm doing this new series on my podcast called Be True Hollywood Story, which is basically like the story of a Bravo lab from birth to scandal to stardom, everything in between.
No,
So
I
I've done,
love.
thank you. So I've done Stassi Schroeder so far, and Denise Richards is my next one. So I'm deep diving this couple here.
I love
And so I'm
this.
rewatching Beverly Hills, and he's talking about how an atom is huge, and don't we all know how big an atom is? And you've got
Oh my
Mo
God, I
in the
remember
background,
this.
high as a kite, being
I could
like,
like see where they
huge,
were.
huge atom. And he's just looking at everyone like they're dumb, and that people are following him and all
Yeah,
this
I have the
stuff.
chills.
I
Oh,
still had absolutely no idea what this man does. So this article just came out with Us Weekly saying that Denise's husband, Aaron Phypers, I think that's how you pronounce his name, I'm not even sure, is being sued for alleged fraud and breach of oral contract Rupert Perry filed a lawsuit on November 13th that accuses Phypers 52 of violating a verbal agreement concerning treatment at his wellness center, Quantum 360 in Malibu. Perry's wife, Elena Katsiula Bial, died of cancer in May 2024 and was allegedly treated by Phypers the year prior, per documents obtained by Us Weekly. According to the filing, Katsiula Bial was diagnosed with sarcoma, a rare cancer that develops in the bones and soft tissues, in 2019 and sought a stem cell treatment for her cancer that Phypers Q360 Club had provided. Perry claims that Phypers compromised the treatment, or sorry, he promised the treatment would cure or at least ameliorate her condition. Perry's suit alleges that Phypers had claimed that the treatment had a 98% success rate, and he was so confident in it that if it did not work, he would refund half of the money, $126,000, that Perry and Katsiula Biala paid him for the procedures. Katsiula Bial was treated there between July and September 2023, and that December she learned that her tumors had grown, prompting her and Perry to reach out to Phypers with a written request for a $63,000 refund. Phypers ignored her request and instead proposed that she undergo more treatment with this man. He alleges that Phypers had also ignored further requests for a refund. On May 21, 2024, Miss Katsiula Bial succumbed to her illness and died. On June 28, 2024, Mr. Perry spoke with Phypers by telephone, who acknowledged the debt but preferred a series of excuses for his failure to pay the $63,000. Perry, who requests a jury trial, claims that Phypers must pay Katsiula Bial's estate as her illness became worse after the treatment at his facility. So I did not know that this is what he was doing at this center. He's claiming that he can cure
Your
cancer or make
cancer?
it less.
Could you imagine that man? Like
Curing cancer.
this curing cancer, or even
No.
having like a clue of how to cure cancer.
You are not a licensed physician in any
I wouldn't
capacity.
let that. Oh my God. This is the
This is a
same
lot
man.
darker than I thought this headline. To
Yeah.
be honest, I didn't read the article. I
Yeah.
only read the
Same.
headline and I kind of kept it moving. But this is a lot darker than I would have ever guessed.
Same. And then I read
Wow.
the article and I was like, whoa. I was like, I am just so surprised by this. I'm just very confused that this center would offer this. I'm also confused about the fact that this was a verbal agreement that he would provide this 50%
Yeah,
refund,
because
because why would that be a verbal agreement? If it's a written agreement, a lawsuit is very easy here. This is what you promised. If you don't provide X result, we receive the money back. This woman died, sir. Like, give them their money back. Come
Also,
on.
if
also
it's
how
63,000, wouldn't it almost be like could be even a selfish move for him, but to just give the 63,000 rather than have this terrible publicity about his entire company? Like
100%.
Mhm.
that seems way more costly than just paying out this couple.
Well,
But
that's
that's
what's
what's
going to happen
wondering.
now, but yeah.
And it's also like, what is this company and how much money are they making? Like, how many people are trusting him to cure cancer? And was this all of his profit?
I feel like I could see this being one of these Netflix documentaries about one of these
Yeah.
Yes.
doctors. I've
Yes.
seen this one. I don't know if you've seen this one, where there's this guy who had like a trailer and said that he could cure cancer in this trailer and he would make you drink a bunch of dirt. And then it worked
Mhm.
for this one guy. It's wild that what people will believe. And it
Yeah.
worked, quote
And it's
unquote. But then the cancer came
Well,
back. And this doesn't sound that much different.
and you're getting people when they're so vulnerable and
oh,
just
Right.
looking for
Right.
any kind of hope.
that's
And
sick.
that is, yeah, it is. It is really sick. That's so sad.
That's
Given,
so
yeah.
Has he
awful.
responded?
I haven't looked into the papers yet. I would assume that he has, depending on when he was presented with these papers. I
And
would assume he
I don't even know
has.
if he has a publicist, but no one has commented back to the media, right? On his
No, and
behalf.
no, and I would assume, because remember, both of them were always just very like, cameras are around, be quiet, don't say anything in front of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
cameras, right? And
That's
he's
interesting.
afraid of the media, thinking that people are following him anyways. What did he really
Do
mean by
you
that, though?
And do you remember? So I started watching also, this is a good watch if you guys are interested. Special Forces.
Yeah.
I'm like obsessed with it. It's like all of these B list, I'm going to say C and D list,
Yeah.
celebrities,
Yeah.
athletes, etc. Per do this Special Forces training. Well, Denise Richards was on it,
Right.
and she talked about how last year, or the year before, they were in LA and their car was shot at. And do you guys
What?
remember that story?
No.
It made
No.
a headline, but
Okay.
I don't remember why the car was shot at. Terrible fact check here. But she talks about how she reacted to it and how she got scared and not overreacted, but had a terrible reaction to the shooting, and it was her and her husband. But this just is making me wonder, what
Why
does
that
he do for
happened.
business?
Yeah.
Yeah, people aren't just shooting people up, and it wasn't like a gang, like, when they talked about it in the news, it seemed like it was something that was targeted.
That's
I have to
interesting
look
that
it
you say
up.
that because at first I just thought, what do you mean people are following you? You're just making that up. But maybe people are
Yeah.
following you and it's for nefarious reasons, right? Because he was
Mm.
implying before that it's like big pharma. I don't think so. Maybe you're doing things where you're taking people's money and scamming them and
He sounds like a
And talk
maybe it's
about
that. Maybe that's why people
conspiracy.
are
that
following
would
you.
be something that would drive someone who is so sane to shoot if like you took their loved one and
Yeah.
lied and then
Yeah, of
profited from it.
course.
Like yeah, that's
I mean,
that's something that will set someone off.
Hmm.
not to go dark, but we saw that with Luigi Mangione,
Hmm.
and obviously there with the healthcare.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Apparently it was a road rage incident. I'm sorry, I lied.
Oh.
That was a road
So
rage.
not a shooting?
It was a shooting
Oh.
from a road rage incident.
Got it.
Still, I think this guy is scary. I
I
think when
know.
lawsuits
He
like this
doesn't.
happen, more start happening, and I think
Yep,
we're gonna see this guy fall.
Also,
for
if you
sure.
can't really explain what you do for work, that's a red flag.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Red flag.
Yeah.
Red
Head for
flag.
the hills.
Well, before we wrap
Yeah.
up, I do just want to get your guys' opinion on, because I know we're done with VPR, but I am just curious. We did
Oh.
have Jessica come out with her, Jessica Walters, Lala's ex-assistant, come out with her new
Mm.
podcast last week. And I feel like people sort of brushed over what she said in terms of what happened with her and Lala. Like, she didn't say much. She couldn't say
Yeah,
much. I guess
you
it
could
was all
tell.
part of an NDA. But she said something to the effect of, I saw something that was happening and I didn't like the way it was happening. So I said something about it and I didn't like the response that I got. I was shocked by the response that I got. So, what was the thing that she didn't like that was happening? Like, what was so bad happening over at Give Them Lala Studios or whatever?
I don't
This is
listen to
interesting.
I don't listen to Lala's podcast, so it's like hard for me to even chime in. I really just I'm not down for Lala
Hmm.
at
But
all.
the thing is like, even if not listening, I think even in like, you could tell how close her and Jessica were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, Jessica was a ride or die for her.
Yes.
So whatever happened to me had to be really bad. It had to
Ooh.
be,
What do you
but
think it was?
I
Well,
know now I want to
now Lala's
speculate.
unfollowed her because on her Amazon Live, someone let her know because she always stays out of the loop that this podcast episode is out. So I guess she listened to it and was upset by what happened, and now she's no longer following Jess. But
But
what happened
sh-
here? Like we all thought
and
this was about money, but now to me, this just doesn't feel like it was about money.
I for sure originally thought it was about money. I thought
Yeah,
she had
same.
asked for an
same.
increase in
Hmm.
in her salary and
Hmm.
got denied.
But to say that I don't like the way it's almost as if she saw like child workers or something like that. She's like, I'm seeing
I
something
know.
bad. I'm speaking up about it. I want this to change. That's how it sounded.
See, and I'm
I'll
thinking
be
more
thinking
along
about
the
this.
lines of like um men, like something to do with a man.
What do you mean?
But I mean that's so general, and let me rephrase. Um I'm just wondering if it was something with her brother or like bad behavior.
Mm.
But
Mhm.
who could the bad behavior be
Yeah, I
coming
don't
from?
know.
The other thing, this like Hollywood, this I just want to say this like Hollywood NDA BS is driving me like, we saw it with Allison Holker and Twitch last week too, about the NDAs from Twitch's funeral that Allison Holker was making people sign. All of these NDAs, I understand it, but like, Lala, you're making people sign NDAs.
I
You're
know.
not that important, girl. You're
I
not
know.
that important.
People are throwing these NDAs around like it's I don't even know. It's just crazy how and don't they not even stand up in court? Or did I mishear that?
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't
I feel like
know.
in some states, given like certain situations, that an NDA actually cannot stand up in trial.
That's
Well,
interesting.
I'm sure Jessica will try to be careful going forward, but like I'm
It
curious to see who will
sucks.
listen to her podcast going forward because she even says at the beginning, I know that the most of the people listening are listening for a particular reason or used to listen to
Uh,
me on a particular show. She wouldn't even say the show actually. She kept saying on
I
my
wonder if
at my
she's not
previous
allowed.
work or my previous job. You can't even say give them Lala. It's like a global
She might
name.
not be able to say Lala,
You can't
which
say
is,
Lala.
but I wonder if like that were the terms of her NDA,
yeah.
which, you know, Lala's narcissistic enough to, I could see that. Sorry, we do not F with Lala, to be
Yeah.
honest. We ride for Ariana and we just really don't
Yeah.
as a, so just putting that out there, we don't, yeah. I just think it's funny too how Lala talks about how hard she rides for people, and Jessica was one of the closest people in her inner pod that she talks about, and the closest people, like, oh, she'll be there for me through thick and thin, blah blah blah. But the second something went down,
Yeah.
you were quick to
Well,
ditch her.
if you look at Lala's history with friends, she
Yep,
basically doesn't have any of them left. All these friends that she's ride
Sheena.
or die for, and even
Hmm.
then though, they had a huge falling out for years.
Yeah,
And like,
Yeah.
and
their
now
kids, they both have said that their daughters were really the reason that they came together and are family now. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see that friendship crumble at some point.
But it just
Lala's not a
shows.
girl's girl.
No, she's
No,
not a
she's
girl's girl, and it just shows if she's willing to let go of Jessica that she just treats anyone like they're disposable and nobody's safe, basically.
yeah.
That's terrible.
I think it was probably treatment that I like now that I'm like thinking about it, I feel like maybe she was coming to the table with different ideas and she just was totally like
Oh,
not letting her have any sort of voice in the
mm,
podcast and
interesting.
just really staying in that
Hmm.
sort of assistant position and not allowing her to grow.
Hmm. Who knows,
It
man?
might, yeah, I don't know.
That
We might
NDA,
not
we'll
ever
never
find out
know.
either. Yeah.
All right, well, Amy and Jenna, thank you so much for being here. Why don't you let the people know where they can find you and follow you if they want to see what you have going on?
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So for 6 more days, we're on TikTok at Bonded by Bravo Pod. Hopefully that will extend. You can also follow us on Instagram at Bonded by Bravo Pod. And wherever you listen to podcasts, new episodes drop every Thursday starting next week. You can find us at Bonded by Bravo on Apple, Spotify, all that fun stuff. And on the Hurrdat Media YouTube, you can watch us live. Not live.
Amazing.
That's not true, but on YouTube.
We'll watch you there.
Yes. Dana, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank you.
guys. Love you, BB. See you next time. Thank you for listening to I Take Bravo Very Seriously in partnership with Hurrdat Media. You can listen to this show and any other episode on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch full-length video episodes on Hurrdat Entertainment's YouTube channel. You can follow me on Instagram at I Take Bravo Very Seriously and at The Bravo Investigator. You can follow me on TikTok at The Bravo Investigator. If you enjoy the show, please leave a 5-star review. Love you, BB. See you next time.
A Hurrdat Media Production.